A lot has been talked about the implications of this for America, but also concern that from lots of people in the UK and Europe that this could spread across the globe. Why do you think this was the right decision by a Conservative-led court in America?
Well, let's look at what Roe v. Wade really brought in 1973. Now, this panel at the time of 9 men, by the way, 9 white men of all people, brought in America.
Why is the colour of their skin remotely relevant?
Oh, only because this is often used as a criticism of the current judgment, that it's all kind of white men who bring this about. But I want to emphasize that at the time, this was a panel that was made undemocratically to bring America into the most extreme situation. There's only 6 countries that have legalized abortion through all 9 months. One was the US, others have been North Korea and China are on that list of 6. And America is one of those most extreme situations of abortion regime.
Okay, yeah, I mean, look, there's no doubt at all that, again, that's constitutional right up to birth. Now, again, the vast majority of Americans don't actually agree with that, but there are some on the left who, and I think I consider these people to be extremists, who think that, yes, this should be legal. I think genuinely they're immoral and insane, but the reality is, in most states, it's not legal. Vast majority of American states, it's not been legal up to 9 months, and the vast majority of abortions take place in the first trimester.
A place where we do accept that we need better protections for women and unborn children at the same time. In Europe, we're much more used to seeing around the 12-week mark as the EU average rather than this extreme situation of 9 months. So the US is allowing states to democratically decide to become closer to the European model of protecting life, taking steps in that direction.
Okay. And now this is becoming a debate about bodily autonomy and women's right to choose. The reality is, you know as well as I do, abortions are still going to happen, because there are many, many women who'd be very desperate, not just teenage girls who may, made a mistake, not use contraception, but because 9 out of 100 women who even use the pill, one of the most reliable forms of contraception, will get pregnant in any year. Many of those women already have children. They may be in long-standing relationships or just got divorced. They don't have anywhere to put a child. They don't have a spare room for the child. They can't afford the maternity leave. They can't afford even the hospital bills in the United States. You know as well as I do, those women are going to be seeking backstreet illegal abortions. And then you've got it's not a ban on abortion, you've got a ban on safe abortion. So we're going to be seeing women dying. Does that sit easily with you?
Well, that is not the case around the world. In Europe, yes, Malta and Poland have the best protections for unborn life in Europe, and they actually have the lowest rates of maternal mortality in the world. So the data doesn't suggest that this does not cause greater maternal deaths at all. But what it does do is bring in a culture where we're more accustomed to supporting women in crisis pregnancy situations and more accustomed to supporting life. And the pro-life movement in America, but also here in Europe, have been doing a fantastic job of providing those services, of reaching out in a charitable way. And I think it's also over to the States now to be supporting those services and being a lifeline to women, because they deserve better than abortion.
Okay, but the thing is, what I find interesting is when people talk about bodily autonomy, I don't think that a woman's life completely overrides a baby's life, certainly in the later stages of pregnancy. But the reality is, forcing women to continue with a pregnancy they don't want, even in the case of rape or incest, forcing them to give birth to that child, many would regard as being cruel. But the key thing is, if we really feel concerned about the number of abortions, the answer there is to make sure that women can get hold of free, easily available contraception. And yet the organisations who claim to be so pro-life and so anti-abortion, they never seem to be funding availability to abortion, particularly for poorer women. That doesn't seem to be their concern, and that would be the easiest way of avoiding abortion, wouldn't it?
So there's a lot to unpack there. But I think what we want to emphasize in here is that it's on the pro-life movement and on society to be providing services and all of the help that can be given to women to be able to carry their pregnancies. We know.
No. What about women? No, these women are having abortions is because they don't want to have that pregnancy. They don't want to have that baby. It doesn't. They can't afford it. It's just not right for them at that time. They're 16 years old, or they're 35 years old and their family's complete. There are various different reasons. They may not have intended to get pregnant. They may have been using contraception. But would it not have been better in a large number of these cases that actually if the money and the campaigning was put into providing reliable contraception, you could deal with this issue?
Well, we're always going to be in a situation where we have to protect the most vulnerable lives. And that's always going to be something that's with us. And the most vulnerable lives are the ones in the womb at the moment.
What about a 16-year-old who's been raped by her father and is now pregnant? Was going to go to college, but now she can't because she's got to have a baby that you're going to force her to have. Is she not a vulnerable life?
That's absolutely a vulnerable life, and it's absolutely on the pro-life movement to protect and offer everything they can to that woman.
What are they going to offer her?
It's a terrible thing to happen. That's awful.
What are they going to offer her?
An awful thing to happen. But abortion is also a trauma and an awful thing to happen. So abortion is not a solution to the fact she was raped. She needs much better than that.
It is one solution to one of the outcomes of her being raped.
Well, what if we found a solution that could protect both lives, that could help that woman and that child to flourish, and not say that one life had to be sacrificed or was.
But do you not believe that I mean, as much as look, I suffered 4 miscarriages. I absolutely understand about the value of the unborn life, and I do understand that. And I'm not I don't understand anyone who says they're pro-abortion. Abortion is a terrible thing. It's just often the least worst of the terrible options available to some women, because it's women who have to make the decision, because women are the ones who get pregnant. However, it seems to me in any scenario, certainly when one life is not viable outside the womb and the woman is carrying that baby, that the woman's life matters more at that point. If we're going to say that women have to carry babies to term, even though they don't want them, we are basically saying that women no longer control their bodies, aren't we? What else are we going to force women to do?
Well, we talk a lot about choice in this argument, but a lot of women feel, especially in the UK, that they don't have a choice other than abortion. A lot of my friends who have been in that situation felt that they did not have the support to continue, whether that was socio-economic support, the support of their families, friends, and partners. So if we were able to tackle that root cause...
So we're just going to fund all these babies? All these women, a 16-year-old with no job, we're just going to pay for her baby and pay for her life, the rest of her life. We're not going to do that, are we?
We can create a culture that respects the life of the unborn child and the woman.
You're not going to be there to babysit that baby, are you? I mean, that's the reality. It's a load of nonsense, because all these organisations are not actually going to be there when the baby is growing up and be there to pay for the milk and for the food and the shoes and give up work for, they're not going to be there.
On the contrary, there are many fantastic pro-life organizations which are very committed to supporting women and meeting their practical and emotional needs, because they know that women do not often favor abortion as their first choice. And the lives of both people in that pregnancy, both the woman and the unborn child, are valuable and important. The pro-life message is based on equality of all people, whatever age or stage of life that they're at, whether they're grown or young or underdeveloped or unable to contribute to society. We all believe that they are equal and deserving of protection.
All right, Lois McKechnie, we'll have to leave it there, I'm sure.